What's going on, traders? It's Ricky with Tactical Solutions. I'm going to start sharing my screen so you guys can see exactly what it is that I'm looking at. But let me go ahead and just get to it. I apologize for this delayed live stream, but it looks like the gold-based ETF JNUG is actually now bouncing back. And I wanted you guys to actually capture this. So I'm in right now at 1440, and I'm going to explain exactly why. I share my screen. Yeah. All right, 1440. Why is it that I got in at 1440? I would have gotten in at $15 if I had the opportunity. So right here, $14 after a bounce. I did not get in at $15. I had to get in at $15.40. That is the newest or the ideal critical point based on when I actually saw JNUG and how it was doing. The reason why was that was a resistance within the past day. So it bounced down at 1482 on Friday, and it was struggling to go above 1440. It wasn't even, and if it did go above it, it didn't hold very well. Therefore, I knew that that was a resistance, and that's what I needed it to break before I saw that JNUG was showing signs of upward momentum. For all those that got in at this very low point, I knew there was a couple traders saying like, "Hey Ricky, I got in at 1425. I got in at 15 like 20 or something like that. What do you think about my position overall?" You guys have to understand based on where JNUG stands, and this is what I want to make sure you guys understand. If it doesn't make sense to you, then yeah, you should not be trading it. But you have to understand based on this, just 20-day analysis even. JNUG stands at a pretty low point based on where it currently trades at, or usually trades at. Understanding that, going more to like a 3-day analysis, you could see that there's this margin, and this is what I really wanted to capitalize on. After it bounced at 1482, which is the same exact bounce that it had before. Right now, I have my stop loss set at 1540, so right where I got in. So I have no real margin for loss, just the commissions that I pay for Fidelity. But this is TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform for those that don't know what it is. That sweet, appreciate it. For those that don't know what platform I'm using, I use the TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform, but I actually trade on Fidelity, and I've explained that multiple times, and it's just kind of what I'm used to. So I figured out this margin from the lows of 1480 to highs of 1440. That little margin was about 3.7%. Understanding that, I would have waited for the bounce and for it to go above $15. So the margin would have been even smaller, 2.61%. But that's something that it was doing consistently last week. And look, guys, this is the next resistance. 1670. Can we break it? And it broke. No, it broke 1570, and there we go. This is what JNUG needed. This is what JNUG really needed to actually bounce back and to show signs of upward momentum. So ideally, once it breaks anything above $16, I'm going to remove my stop loss here from 1540, and then put my stop loss here at $16, meaning that it will lock in the profit from 15 to $16, which is 3.83%. The reason that I'm doing $16 is $16 is what I would like to identify in a sense as a critical point when it comes down to actually breaking resistance. And once it breaks above 16, we might not actually see it hold, at least for the day. And if it doesn't hold, at least I lock in that profit. So right now we're at 1570. It looks like it's gapping up for every 10 cents because first it gapped up from this small margin of 1480 to 1540. And then I'm sorry, it's because I'm looking at other indicators while I talk. The only thing that I see right now is this RSI indicator showing that it's a little bit more on the overbought side. So maybe having my stop loss to at least lock in or to follow with profit right now wouldn't be a bad idea. Yeah, I think moving my stop loss to 1560 just to give it some distance, but still to lock in some profit. So I'm going to remove my stop loss and move it there. Give me 1 second. All right. All right, 193 shares. All right. So 193 shares, stop loss if it goes below 1560. Giving it still this margin for it to, move up and down. But if it breaks below 1660, 1560, and then it starts gapping down, then that's where I'm going to want to maybe like cut my losses, give it a little bit of room to drop down. And then if it bounces at 1540, then I can buy back in again at the support and then ride it back up. But realistically, I want to make sure that my biggest mistake with JNUG, especially within the past couple of days, I was actually explaining it to my roommate that I was trading. I was up $210, and because I didn't set a stop loss, because I was actually hoping to sell for a higher profit, I made the mistake of actually not locking it in. So it looks like it's hitting a resistance here at 1580. If you guys could see that, it's been struggling, going back and forth to actually break above it. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Oh, there's not that many messages this morning. Am I following Z and Ricky? No. JNUG was the one that was top on my list, so I'll make sure I follow up with that one. AMD, let's see how that one's doing. Huge drop. This is what I love about AMD. When it drops down to its previous support, when it drops down like 1320, and now it starts gapping back up, that's a huge margin for profit. Although AMD isn't moving much today, that's about 2 to 3%, which is usually what you need as a day trade to go from $1 to $20,000 just consistently. Damn, CERU gapped up, RAD. Righted, just not doing what we really want it to do. We understand that 230 is now a new support, but realistically, like it keeps breaking every support, keeps continuously just showing signs of downward trend. Yes, JNUG keeps gapping up. Not holding though. Need to really hold above 1880, and then I'll move my stop loss up to 1570. No, come on. And as it starts getting a little bit closer to approach the $16 mark, that's when I'm most likely gonna, oh man, remove my stop loss and then probably go for a limit order to try to sell at $16, because I'd hate to miss out on, when it hits 16 and then sees a drop. I'd much rather just lock in profits, and if it continues to rise, then I can buy back in again. That would make more sense to me than actually trying to, um, wait for it to break above and then put a stop loss. I'd much rather lock in profits when it hits this resistance of 16, which I know might be a little more difficult for it to break above. And I'm just about to hit my stop loss. And there we go. So no. 1663, and here comes the drop. I forgot I didn't move my stop loss up, so I'm at 1660 for my stop loss. Hopefully I gave it enough room for it to actually bounce back, and it's a pretty solid drop. If anything, it just looks like it's dropping. I should probably just lock in profits right now. All right. Moving back up, bouncing. This is the biggest thing. This is where, because I'm more of a conservative trader, I just like to lock in profits with any sign really of a downward trend. And I know a lot of people that are a little bit riskier tend to make a little bit more because then it does start to bounce and it can break the resistance. But realistically, just sometimes it's just very difficult for me because I'd much rather lock in like, consistent smaller amounts of profit, like long term, and keep losses small, um, than to kind of hope for the best and really try to make it or break it. But it really comes down to your style of trading. You never want to do, something that someone else tells you or, is out of your comfort area. But it's never wrong either to explore different options as long as you can manage it, right? So if you can explore different styles of trading, but as long as you, have a plan while you're doing it. So I'm gonna try to see if I can. It's really struggling to break above 1570 now. Um, and if it does that, I'm gonna just sell at 1565 just to do 5 cents more than the 1560 stop loss. But all right, I'll have my shares ready. Stop loss at 15.75. Once it breaks above it. And this is all new, so yeah. I mean, these lows where it's at right now, I just don't want to write it all the way down. I want to hear what you guys have to say, and I really want to hear. So let's see. So I really want to hear what you guys have to say when it comes down to my position right now. So I'm up right now. It's not a huge position, but something that I've really experienced many times is that when I don't lock in profits and I try to kind of wait for it to actually bounce, especially with JNUG and what it's been indicating, that within the past 10 days, it's been a consistent downward trend, and it does have small little bounces, but then continues to drop. So little bounces continues to drop. A bounce, but this is actually showing more of a support. So I actually think it's actually showing signs of more upward momentum. But again, based on the previous trends, it has just been consistently just showing signs of downward momentum. So are we 100% sure that this is the bottom? No. What do you guys suggest for me to keep my stop loss, even remove my stop loss and put it at 1540, or lock in profits right now? So if you guys want to let me know what you guys think, I have a lock it in by Virus 9000. I have my stop loss set at 165, bought in at 164. Okay, lock it in. Lock it in. Lock it in. Keep the stop loss. Lock it in. All right. So I like that. Depends on your margin whether I would like it or not. Okay, yeah. So now that it's at one sub, it needs. All right. So if I lock it in at 1575, I'll be up probably like $57 after commissions. So not huge, but it's still profit is profit, right? If I don't lock it in, then my opportunity to lock in a little bit more with 193 shares from 1540 would be about almost 2% more from where it currently stands. So 2% more, yeah. So that would be another $48, putting me almost at $100 profit for the day, from top to bottom, from $15 to $16, $15.40 to $16. Always take profits. I can see myself. Where did you get in? I got in at 1540. It keeps struggling, but looks like it's showing signs of an upward trend. Lock it in. Always lock in profits, your own words. I know. All right. I'm gonna put a stop loss. And then with that stop loss, and I have to do it quick because it's now. All right. Let's see. Stop loss. I like that, Jose Santos, how you're using my words against me. But that's really good. That's why I really like having you guys in this live stream because um, you guys really, just remind me on what it is that we need to do. All right, sounds good. Let's do it. All right. Well, right now we're standing right at 1570. I wanted to follow with a stop loss, and the stop loss can be at. It's just not holding above 1570, and that's the thing. Should I just lock in profits now, or put a stop loss at 1563, and then put a stop loss at 1570 once it breaks above it, if it does? I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my stop loss here at 1563 based on where it previously bounced, even 1560. That margin is a lot smaller. Regardless, all right, we're seeing a downward trend. All right, stop loss at 1560. Sellers and the break. All right. I still got filled, so it went right at below 1560. That's the beauty of stop losses. It looks like I just got kicked out, and all right. All right, kind of just floating there. Downward trend, breaking supports. All right, so maybe I didn't do the worst thing. I should have been a little bit quicker at pulling the trigger when I hit the resistance at 1580. So that's my area of improvement. I should have seen that the RSI indicator was showing it's way on the overbought side, but I just really thought that this was going to be the bounce, but I should have gone a little bit less based on my opinion and more on what the graph was showing. So area of improvement, focus a little bit more on actually what it's indicating rather than what you're hoping for, and kind of say a little systematic on where you're locking in profits. Have a plan as it continues to move up, like following maybe with a tighter stop loss. But I felt like I gave it the margin that I wanted it to kind of do what it was doing. Because I would have locked in profits at this first sign of resistance at 1560 anyway when it was moving up, since it struggled to go above that. but then it pulled on through and hit highs of 1580. So again, you never know. It looks like it's bouncing back, but yeah, I think we did really good, guys. I think it was good enough. I'm gonna put my alerts once it breaks above this again. And then I'm gonna put my alert if it breaks below this, just so I know that I can buy back again. Not a huge trade by any means. Totally understand that. But I think it was a trade worth trading. It made sense to me. I managed my own risk, and although it was one that I probably wasn't necessarily going to trade this upcoming week because of the potential that I saw with JNUG. Right as I saw the market open, hitting its lows, right after I saw the market open, hitting the lows that it made, where's it at? That it made on Friday, I was kind of like, okay, well, what if it bounces and then it just bounced, and then that's sweet. I didn't have the opportunity to actually trade it till a little bit later. But it was actually really sweet being able to see that, okay, well, it looks like JNUG is actually bouncing. It did experience somewhat of a pullback, but you wouldn't expect, JNUG to just spike up and there be no pullback. So it is still showing signs of upward momentum. And it's just on these little dips that I'm going to try to see if I can buy and then sell again. This is a little bit of a pricier ETF or stock, whatever it is that you guys want to call it. But definitely does have the tight margin for profit. Doesn't have, the 5, 10, 15, 20% that everyone's looking for, but it does have margin for profit, and it makes sense to me. So that's why I traded it. You guys wanted me to look at ZN. There's a couple of you guys suggesting to look at ZN. So it's experiencing a pullback right now, and let's see where it stands. All right. A tight little squeeze during market open. That's pretty solid from top to bottom of 10%. So I know a lot of our momentum traders follow this specific style of stock. It broke below the support of about 1550. But look, guys, during pre-market hours, it had an overall support of 1525, which is what it hit, and then it started to bounce up. So if it breaks above 1550, just know that it's breaking resistance. This actually might be one that might be worth watching. If it breaks above 1550, then it's showing signs of downward momentum. That's no like surprise. As you guys can see, it's showing signs of downward trends. The new highs are a lot lower than the old highs, but it's still bouncing, and it still creates margins for profits. So right now, those that bought in at 1525 from the initial bounce are up about 5%, which is huge. And I would ideally think that the resistance as it makes its way back up is going to be about $6. So the margin for profit from low to high at the current place we're at right now is much greater than from when it actually opened, just because we're casting it at a much lower support. And this is what I'm finding is that 1525. Holy crap! I have my headphones on, and my alert for for TD Ameritrade went off. It scared the bejeebers out of me. So what I was saying was that 1525, based on this 2-day analysis, has been a support, meaning that it holds above even during aftermarket hours and pre-market hours. It holds above 1525. It goes up, it sees a downward trend, and then it bounces at this same support. So it identified 1525 to be a true support, and it would also identify that because it used to be an old resistance. Like we know, old resistance become new supports. It's starting to gap up. It broke, I think, above 1550, and now it's starting to make moves. Let me see. All right, still dropping down. All right, well, I'm gonna move my attention over to ZN and see if we can do a little tight squeeze of if it really starts gapping up after it breaks above 1550. I'm gonna have my order ready. Don't want to go in too deep. I'll go in first with 500 shares, and then we'll go from there. All right, so it's now gapping up. It went above 1550. If you guys can see this, please, guys, if it doesn't make sense to you, please don't trade it. That's one of the biggest things that I want you guys to understand. This is going to be pretty much my plan. There's a first null support at 1580, so I think that's going to be the first resistance that we're going to have trouble breaking above, and then 1550 being the critical point that I see, and it just gapped up above 1560. All right, well, I need to get in first before anything. And the overall support's at 1550, so that's where my ideal stop loss is going to be. So if it breaks below that, then I'll cut my losses, and I'll get in at the current bounce right now. So we're into a pullback. All right. All right, I was gonna wait for it to actually go back down, but I think 1560 is fine. So limit order at 1560, 500 shares. All right, let's see what we can do. Ideally, first margin for our first resistance, I think it's going to be around 1580. So about 3% potential. When my potential for loss from 1560 to 1550 is about half of that. So it makes sense to me. All right, I got filled. All right. Break below support, 1550. Should probably set my stop loss. That was a pretty solid pullback. All right. All right. Stop loss at 1549. I'm going to give it a 1 cent because it's getting a little bit too close. So 1549 stop loss. Right. I'm in at an average of 550. And we want to see the break. So I'm going to start setting alerts once it breaks these resistance. Hopefully these alerts don't actually scare me. All right, and then I'm going to set my alert once it goes below, as we want to be alerted both on the top end and the high end. All right, JNUG. Yeah, I think we did good with JNUG, guys. Saw a drop, and it's now just continuously dropping, so I can almost buy back in where I previously bought in. So I have my alerts set for that if it drops below 1540. All right, so we're back up. Nope. All right. I want to see what's going on. Bradley doing work. This is why it usually, like, after I do my entry, because usually the stocks that I get into aren't really momentum stocks. I usually cut my live stream short, just because I feel kind of awkward sometimes that I kind of don't like commentating. Like, I'm pretty good at commentating when I'm looking for stocks and stuff like that. But once I'm actually in it and I'm focusing on one, it's nothing fancy. It's kind of you're kind of just waiting around to make things happen. Maybe I'll dedicate this time. I'll try not to put too much attention, because last time I did this, I totally was not paying attention to the stock that I was trading. But if you guys have any questions for me, please leave them down. Please put them in the live stream comments, and then I'll try to answer them right now. So AMD. Yeah, AMD hitting more of a resistance here at 1355 and 1360. So as you can see, it's approaching this 70 RSI, but still has margin to make up. I would put this is like a pretty solid support when it breaks above 1350. So maybe putting a stop loss there would be ideal, but it looks like it's just about to break it. So hopefully it holds above it. And there's like a little resistance here at 1355. Snap. Dude, yeah, Snapchat. I haven't personally traded that in a while. Looks like you're in pre-market. It hit lows of 1703. Has it still not broken below 17? No, 17 has still been a solid support. That's pretty cool. The 17, it's been holding. It's never broken below 17 based on the time that I've analyzed it. Resistance at about $18, as you guys can see. It does go above 18, but realistically, that's where the resistance is at. And doesn't mean that just because it's never gone below 17 that it's not going to. But usually what I do is I wait for the bounce, and then I buy in usually around 710 to 720, just like we did last time. I'm not too sure if you guys were tuning in for the live stream, but you guys, when I called out the buy at 710, I'm going to set my alerts on this one. If it goes below 710 to below, so sweet. And then also when it breaks above 1720. It's at 707 right now. So I'm also going to put my alert when it goes above 711. 1711, I apologize. And then once it gets a little bit closer, if it breaks below 1705. I just want to stay alerted and up to date. As the end isn't doing much. Someone, I think in the live stream said, do you guys think that I got in a little bit too late on Zian? And that might actually be the case. Let's see. I just thought I identified this margin from the bounce at where it had at 1525, which is what I identified the support to be, with the signs of upward momentum for it to actually be gapping up to $6. But it looks like I'm about to stop loss anyways right now. All right. Let's see. I like that it's holding. So we've identified, there was truly the resistance. Now it's a new support. So that's a good sign, but it looks like it's definitely going to break below the 1550. But yeah, no worries. I mean, I feel like I'm managing my risk pretty well. Do I expect to win every single trade? Not necessarily. That's not very realistic. So I came in knowing that, I understood my margin for loss, but I was managing it. So that's why I'm pretty comfortable with where I am right now. Let's see. Yeah, it's not really breaking above that support at 1550. Might have just gotten in a little too late. JNUG broke below 1441, 1541. So it's back at where I bought it at. So let's see how this one plays out. You would wait for around $5.40. That makes sense. Potential short ends of the end closes right on the day. Yeah. Ricky, do I ever short sell? I do not. You're learning that when you second guess yourself, that you're more successful. Well, it's always good to plan out your trade and really think about it. But something that I don't think has, in my own experience, overthinking it sometimes. When it comes down to time and execution, it actually kind of hasn't necessarily assisted me in my success when it came to trading. Looks like it has a lot of potential. The software that Rick uses is TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim. All right, well, it looks like it's about to break right now. The volume is spiking up, and I'm not even saying like come on, like break, but kinda. We got sellers at 556, but all right, I'm out. And that's the beauty of market prices and stop losses. All right, so down $55 on ZN. JNUG bounced. I'm a little too late on that. It literally just bounced because this is a 1 minute candlestick. That's good. I mean, hopefully you guys saw this, that it was back at support, identified the potential, waited for the bounce, and it looks like it's bouncing back, so that's good for that. I'm going to call it a day when it comes to my live stream. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Not the best live stream, nothing extremely crazy. We didn't actually capture anything during pre-market, or I didn't go live during pre-market hours, and that's usually when we capture a lot of the breakout stocks and more of momentum stocks. But I do appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully we can get back into schedule and focus more on those momentum and kind of like the pre-market hours and setting up everything. Just something came up with my girlfriend in Spain, and I had to jump on a call with her during the middle of the night. So I lost a couple hours of sleep. I already went to sleep at like 1, and I have to wake up at 5. So I was just really tired and kind of disoriented. So I do apologize for that. JNUG is really gapping up. It's at 1560 already, and it's about to break 1570. So it's breaking. So I missed out on that one the second time, but we still have a couple trades that I'm going to be looking at for the rest of the day. If you guys want to get in contact with me, direct message me within the TechBud Solutions group chat. Again, the link is provided for you down below if you're not a part of TechBud Solutions already. We're a little bit over 29,000, almost 30,000 members worldwide with all the different platforms we have available. You simply have to have a Facebook account to get into our Facebook group. It's free. And then on the top pinned post, you have access to our group chats. So feel free to ask any questions, but be sure to be aware that there's a search bar, and we do get a lot of frequently asked questions. So do your work. Make sure you search for your question first, and if you still can't find it, and if none of my helpful videos actually answer any of those questions, then feel free to post on the TechBud Solutions Facebook platform, direct message me or any of the other members within our community. Can't thank you guys enough again for everything it is that you guys do, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, guys.